We've all used the Soundgoodizer from time to time. This simple and mysterious plugin appears to make anything you use it on sound better, right? But exactly how does it work? And why does it make everything sound so much better? This all has to do with compression. There's nothing magical about the Soundgoodizer. It really just does two things: compression and saturation. It has just 4 settings and 1 intensity knob. The intensity knob is like a dry-wet knob. In other words, how much of the effect is being applied to the original signal. Here's a simple illustration to show how this works. The main reason why it makes everything sound huge is because it's compressing the sound. In order to understand how it does this, we need to take a quick look at how a compressor works. A compressor is actually very simple. It does exactly what its name suggests. It compresses the signal. When a compressor does this, it reduces the volume of the loudest elements. A makeup gain is then added to bring the overall volume back up. Depending on the amount of compression, the dynamic range is decreased accordingly. The difference between loud and quiet becomes less and less. This means that the quieter parts of the sound, which were previously inaudible, can now be heard loud and clear. This will obviously make the sound much fuller, so the compression is what makes the sound appear huge. The last component is saturation, which is basically just distortion. When distortion is added to a sound, it can make it sound crisper and clearer. Watch what happens when I apply distortion to the sound. It sounds brighter, right? The Soundgoodizer's 4 presets come from Maximus, which is FL Studio's flagship multiband compressor. If you want to know exactly what the Soundgoodizer does, you can then load up the various presets in Maximus and study the settings. This can also help you learn how to set up a compressor yourself. As you can see, they all have slightly different settings in terms of attack, release, and so on. Since Maximus is a multiband compressor, it can compress different parts of the frequency spectrum differently at the same time. This is the main reason why the 4 presets sound so different. One setting will make the highs stand out, another will make the mids stand out, and so on. They also have different saturation settings. The dry-wet knob you see here is the same as the main knob on the Soundgoodizer. It determines how much of the effect is being applied. If you want to know more about how this works, then you should check out my Parallel Processing Explained video. You can find the link in the description below. Hopefully, you now have a better understanding of how the Soundgoodizer works. I've noticed that some people like to make fun of anyone who uses the Soundgoodizer. Obviously, they have no idea how the Soundgoodizer actually works. If this ever happens to you, you should just ask them if they ever compress their sounds. They will no doubt answer yes. In that case, you can now enlighten them and let them know that the Soundgoodizer is, for the most part, a compressor too. A similar plugin would be the sausage fattener. Last but not least, let's talk about when you should and should not use the Soundgoodizer. Compression is a much-used tool in modern dance music, but it's important to use it correctly. You can compress just about any sound, but keep in mind though that this plugin only has 4 different compression presets, Therefore, one of the presets will usually work well for any given sound, but sometimes it will not. If you use Maximus instead, you can tweak the settings to get a perfect result. If you don't have it, or maybe you're just not a compression expert, then the Soundgoodizer can be a good alternative. It can work very well on leads, bass, pads, guitars, and even vocals. Just try it out. If it sounds good, it sounds good. The only place I would not recommend using it is on the master channel. The 4 different settings are emphasizing very different parts of the frequency spectrum, so it will tend to make your mix unbalanced when used on the master. Sometimes this can work though, but more often than not, the presets will not be the exact medicine that your master needs. When you put something on the master channel, you're essentially mastering your track and should be very cautious about what you put there. If you want to know more about the difference between mixing and mastering, then you should check out my Mixing and Mastering Explained video. The link is in the description. If you would like me to master a track for you, then you can check out my mastering gig on Fiverr. I'm also offering professional feedback on tracks for just $5. If you want some advice on how to improve your mix, arrangement, and so on, then check out my feedback gig on Fiverr. The link is in the description below. How do you use the Soundgoodizer? Let me know in the comments below. I hope this was helpful. I'd like to thank everyone who supports this channel on Patreon. If you liked the video, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to support us, then feel free to head over to Patreon and make a donation. If you'd like to see more videos like this, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, if there's any specific tutorial you'd like me to make, or if you have a question, then let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.